This is Steve from Boxing UK in association with Supreme CBD. Delighted to be joined by Dominic Ingle.
I hope you're not starstruck Steve.
Do you know what?
You're not starstruck, are you?
I had Brendan in my head because I was going to ask about, obviously, yourself and Brendan have had Kell since such a young lad.
Yeah.
How much does this mean? 15 years in the waiting?
You know, it'd have been great if Brendan had been here. There's lots of fights he would have loved to be at. You know, he was a massive boxing fan. He loved boxing. He lived for boxing. And obviously, Kell came into the gym I think he came in at 8, did a year, then disappeared for a year, then came back when he was like just getting on near 10. And it's been a great journey for Kell. I mean, my father would say that he's underachieved. He had so much potential and just got waylaid a little bit. But here we are, you know, we're at this big fight, 2 fighters, British fighters, top of the game, or they've been at the top of the game, and we're finally getting it on Saturday.
I know it's a crude way of putting it, Dominic, but is it a case of who's least damaged?
Yeah, look, they're 35 years old, aren't they? They're not spring chickens anymore. So all I know is, from my experiences with Kell, I've known him a long time. I've known him 25 years. That's a long time. I've trained him, you know, for most of those years. We've gone all the way through the amateurs. Brendan, spent a lot of time on Kell through the amateurs. I kind of came on back into his career as an amateur into the professionals. He had a little stint with Dave Cole and came back, and from that point onwards, you know, it's been a long journey. We've had a long journey together. That's why I have to laugh when Bulmark says I know him better than himself. He doesn't. Even the time I spent with Kell Brook, even I don't know him. I know enough of him to train him. So he's a bit of a stupid comment, really. But you know, I know his strengths, his weaknesses, when he needs to be pushed. You know, when he's motivated, when he's not. And I've got the experience of being able to compare it to his previous camps and how he's trained. Yeah. And it's fair to say, whenever you look at an athlete or a fighter in particular, when they have good fights, it's because they've had a good camp. When their performances have been a bit sketchy, it's because they've had a sketchy camp. That's always been the case in all the fighters I've ever trained. And don't forget, I've trained Johnny Nelson, I've forced to train Nazim Ahmed, Junior Witter, Kell Brook, Kid Galahad. I know from all the fighters, so that's a kind of goes across the board. So when you have a good performance, you put in a good camp, and the camp that Kell Brook's put in has been good. It's been a very, very good camp. It's been a Sean Porter camp, and look at that performance. He went to America and beat people who were calling him mini Mike Tyson. So he did fantastic, and that's the motivation he's shown in this camp. Hopefully, he can execute the plan on Saturday night. His age and the wear and tear doesn't catch up with him. But what I've seen in camp, hopefully can override all that.
What's Kell's biggest strength and his biggest weakness going into this one, do you think, Dominic?
His biggest strength is the determination he has. And it's very easy when you get to 35 to go, well, living in a big house, got plenty of money. Yeah. You know, we went away before Christmas. I know Amir went away before Christmas, but we went away before Christmas. Spent 6-7 weeks away. Just me, Kid Galahad, his nutritionist Greg, Kell. We had a great time. You know, we worked hard in the gym. We chilled in between. You know, it would have made a nice little documentary, that, because we had some good laughs. Kell was relaxed, but he put the hard work in every single day. Got fed well. He was happy. He was happy to do the tasks, and he loves to win. That's the thing with Kell. He loves to win. He hates losing more than he loves winning, if you can understand that phrase. Do you understand?
That'll be magnified this weekend, won't it?
Sorry?
That'll be magnified this weekend.
So, you know, the fear of losing is greater than the winning. So, you know, that's where we are with Kell. He's put in a great camp, and I'm expecting, you'll see tomorrow when they step on the scales, you can't look like he's going to look, you know, through slacking. You know, I know Khan thinks he's in the best shape of his life, but don't forget, he hasn't seen himself in shape for 3 years. So he's going to be happy with a bit of a six-pack. He is. Whereas Kell, you know, he's been in shape now, I would say, for like a long time. Like the summer, he's been in shape. So he's looking good.
I know it's another crude one, but he's been sweating the small stuff, hasn't he, Dominic?
He's been sweating the small stuff. He does sweat a lot, Kell. And you know, what we were trying to actually do on camp is bottle it and sell it on eBay, but we didn't get enough, so I just drank it. So.
Which was brought up in the press conference.
Brought up in the press conference, but I've explained to a lot of people that, you know, what goes on social media these days and what's videoed is, you know, I always say, believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a big debate whether I did or I didn't. Well, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I'm not saying I did, I'm not saying I didn't. But next week, people either ask me or they forgot about it after the fight. So, you know, it's all good talking points. It gets things trending. It creates a bit of interest.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully on Saturday night, we also get the win.
We've interviewed Bulmark. He obviously threw that at you. If there's any consolation, you've got under his skin because he said Dominic Ingle's a motherfucker for bringing up my fighting record.
Yeah, because...
Is that all just part of the game?
I've got, well, look, you know, why is he bothered? It's not him fighting, is it? What you see, this is, they're more concerned about the reputation. You know, I get, well, did you ever box? No, I didn't box professional, I boxed amateur. But if you know what you're doing as a coach, it don't matter whether you box or not. It shouldn't be an issue. Why is he bothered? You know what I mean? We're not gauging him on his boxing ability, are we? Mm-hmm. We're gauging him on his training ability, and luckily for him, he's happened to come across, you know, Crawford. I don't really know what the relation is, how long he's been training him. It's a bit like Abel Sanchez with Golovkin. Mm-hmm. You know, I spoke to Abel Sanchez, very good trainer, and Golovkin walked into his gym one day when he was about ready to retire. You know the story, and he had a fantastic career. He was the ideal trainer for Golovkin. Billy Graham was the ideal trainer for Ricky Hatton. Mayweather, his dad was the ideal trainer for him. Bulmark's the ideal trainer for Terence. Whether he's the ideal trainer for anybody else, I don't know. But, you know, getting wound up about his boxing record, it's because you throw it out there to wind him up, don't you? You know, of course you do. And he reacted. If he just laughed and went, yeah, but I'm a very good trainer. But he didn't. He's more concerned about himself. Yeah. It's not about him. It's about Amir Khan. It's not about me. It's about Kell Brook. You know, I'm not trying to steal the limelight. This is all about Kell Brook. He's a star. He's the boxer. He's taking the shots. So, you know, I don't really particularly care what anybody's saying about me. It's not my ego's walked out of that door about 20 years ago. Yeah. So, you know, obviously Bulmark's got his. He's a larger-than-life personality. And if he's upset, all good.
Do you agree with the measuring stick that he used with Amir and Kell's respective performances against Terence Crawford? Or do you think that you can't read anything into that at all?
You can't read anything to that, can you? Because, look, what can you read into it? You can't. How you lose a fight, you know, who knows? You know, I don't know. I wouldn't use that as a gauging stick because it's not Amir Khan. It's you know, Kell Brook isn't Terence Crawford, is he? He's not gonna fight like Terence Crawford to beat Amir Khan, is he? He's gonna fight like Kell Brook. So, you know, whatever stick he wants to use, let him use. He'll know by how he's trained Khan. But will he know? Because what is his measuring stick? What is Bulmark's measuring stick? And how hard he's gonna? Do you know what his measuring stick is? His measuring stick is the other fighters he's trained. Crawford, that's his measuring stick. Because he'll be thinking, oh, Crawford's an elite fighter, Khan is. That's what he can train like. Yeah. They did that with Ricky Hatton. Mayweather's dad trained Ricky Hatton like he trained Floyd. I remember speaking to Ricky saying, I were on my way weeks before that fight. Because, yeah, Floyd probably was. Because it was no good for me, because I was used to crashing the weight because I was dead going into that fight. So, although he knew how to train Floyd Mayweather, it would have taken him more than one fight to learn how to train Ricky. You know, I've had these conversations with these fighters when they've changed trainers. He had a fantastic career with Billy Graham. Billy Graham knew him inside out. Ron McCracken knew Cole Froch inside out. When Cole Froch got beat, he didn't run off anywhere else. He stuck with Ron McCracken and finished on the top of his career. Yeah. You know, finished with beating George Groves in front of what? 90, 100,000 people in Wembley. What a performance that was. And he had two or three losses on his record. But he stuck with the thing because he knew that Robert McCracken knew him. Yeah. And I look at Amir Khan and he's been around every trainer. He's been around everybody trying to find the key. There's no key. The key is with yourself. That's where the performance is. And as a trainer, you know, you are part of the process. But you are not what makes that fighter. You're not. The fighter is what makes the fighter. You're there to take off the rough edges, guide them down the right route, stop them from being their own worst enemy. That's the skill as a trainer, matching up the sparring, because, you know, that's the way it's got to be. You're not doing the fighting. You don't think the same. You know, if you put Bulmark's mentality into Khan, well, you know, he wasn't a particularly good fighter. He might have been. I don't know. I've never seen him box, but his record doesn't suggest he was. A bit of a punch bag. But that's just him, you know. But he's found another vocation as a boxing trainer, and hopefully he's guiding people through past the mistakes that he fell foul of.
Yeah. Just a couple more, because I can see your cue forming, Dominic. Can you tell us why Kell Brook wins this fight?
He wins this fight because I think from any point, they've been professionals. I just think Kell's always been the tougher fighter, the better fighter, one with a punch. Khan can box, but the boxing kind of goes out the window when he gets into trouble. He has boxed his way through a couple of fights when he's been in trouble, Madonna, and then, you know, close to the end he started getting caught. So, you know, I think Kell's got more in the tank. He's had less wear and tear, and he's fresher of the two.
Last one, any news on the stable? We've had Bradley Skeete and Kid Galahad on the end of controversial debates.
You know, Bradley's, I don't think he's going to box again. I think he's just disillusioned with it all. He came out of retirement, well, he didn't retire, but he came out from being inactive, putting a great performance against a so-called future star, and didn't get the result. Galahad's back in the gym training, he's fighting in March on the Lee Wood undercard, so yeah, everything's moving in the right direction.
Brilliant. I wish you luck on Saturday, Dominic.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for your time.